Hey everyone, welcome to Volunteer Vibes. I'm Denise Middleton. It is finally Friday. Listen, I know it's Labor Day weekend, so I promise we won't work you too hard, but we do have just a few volunteer opportunities that we want to tell you about in case you do have some, extra free time that you want to, give back to the community. And so I want to bring in our first guest here, Joe Sullivan with Project Cure. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having us, Denise.
Of course. So tell everybody about Project Cure.
Sure. So Project Cure is the largest international organization providing medical equipment to over 139 countries around the world. So all
Wow.
that sounds kind of big and fluffy, but let me paint a realistic picture. Today, we are packing a trailer for equipment specifically to go to Ukraine to build field hospitals for those that were injured during the war. So this is real time
Wow.
stuff.
Incredible. So important. I mean, I got to imagine that takes a lot of preparation, a lot of work. And so I'm sure you guys need plenty of volunteers. Tell us how people what's the first thing they can do to help you guys out?
First thing you can do is log on to our website at projectcure.org. And there's lots of different buttons that let you know ways to get involved, including a volunteer button. Here in Houston, we need volunteers all the time. And then we especially need groups when we're planning shipments international. So
Mhm.
you can come in for a day or a couple of days, or if you have a big group and you're looking for a way to team build or bond on one
Yeah.
specific day, you can log on and inquire, and we will match you up with a shipment coming out of Houston to one of 139 countries around the world.
Wow. So what are some of the specific things that you need them to do?
Everything from, if you really don't want to do a lot of heavy lifting, we could just use your help answering the phone. But we also need people that are willing to sort medical supplies into categories, even the small ones. So it's not a lot of big labor. You can sit at a table and sort scalpels and other materials. We need folks that are willing to take those materials, pack them into boxes, and then the real heavy labor comes in loading the trucks. You can see some of the beautiful hospital beds that were donated to us. Those get moved with forklifts and other things, so we're not expecting you to pick up a 500 pound bed, we promise. But there's a lot that can be done, and even helping us accept donations. We get donations from hospitals and from medical supply companies, but also some individuals that may no longer need their wheelchairs or walkers. So we can use you in almost any way you can imagine. And truck drivers, if you drive a big truck, y'all know there's a shortage right now in this country and it's hard to find people. If you know how to drive a truck and can, please call us. Just helping us pick up
Yeah.
medical equipment would be a big gift.
I'm sure that can be a big help. Now, I saw some folks were wearing masks. There are COVID precautions, I assume, since you're dealing with medical supplies and equipment, right?
It really depends. It's up to the group at this point. We are no
Okay.
longer mask required, but if groups feel more confident coming in, and if we put you in an area of highly sensitive medical equipment, we will provide what's required, whether it's a mask or gloves or PPE. So if you or your group want to come in, the mask option is completely up to you. It tends to be a pretty social distanced effort anyway, so we keep
Hmm.
people as safe as we can here.
Yeah. Well, that's good. And I mean, as you mentioned, this is gone ongoing, but I guess what kind of a commitment do you hope to get from volunteers, maybe on a day-to-day basis?
It sure would be great if people were willing to come and sign up for maybe 2 days a week or two partial days a week, up to 6 months. We get
Yeah.
donations all the time, but on occasion we'll get 40 pallets of something unexpected, and having people here to help break those pallets open and to sort them at appropriate bins is really beneficial for us. I'm going to tell you, we're lean here. We are a highly volunteer driven organization across the country, about 30,000 volunteers. So without volunteers, things don't get sorted and packed and onto those shipments. And if that happens, then communities around the world don't get to open and expand their clinics. So we need you. We need you.
Yes, I can imagine you need lots, dozens of volunteers, and it looked like some of them were young. Do you have teenagers who help out in case they want to get some volunteer hours as well?
We sure do. And we have a special disclaimer if you're under 18, and we want to make sure your parents are okay with it. But we do have high school groups. We've got young professional groups. We had the Baylor College of Medicine in not too long ago. So we have medical students who, they want to get to know these medical implements pretty well. Of course, as part of the
Right.
profession, but We have law groups and real estate groups and retirees and individuals and just people that are passionate about global change. You know, Houston's a really global community. We know that. We have more consulates here than in Washington, D.C. How that's
Mhm.
pretty cool. So, international communities, if we are working in your country or you want to give back, call us, come out and volunteer. We sure could use your help.
I love that. So, what do they need to do if they want to sign up and volunteer? Do they need to register first?
They do. All they need to do is go on projectcure.org. There
Mhm.
is a drop down button that says take action, and under that, the word volunteer. And you just sign up, and we will contact you and start talking to you about what you might be suited for, what you might be willing to do. And again, even if you're willing to drive one day a month up to the Woodlands or to the hospitals and pick up
Mhm.
donated items, we could almost anything we can find a use for your kindness and generosity of time.
That's awesome. And you say no experience necessary, right?
Unnecessary. None at all. We won't put
That's
you on a forklift without a certification to drive, we
I
promise.
don't know. That sounds kind of fun though. I was looking at those pictures. I'm like,
I
I'd
know they
like to
won't
get
let
on
me
one of
drive
those.
it. I have to use the manual lift thing. They won't even let me drive it.
Oh man. Well, I guess you guys definitely need a lot of volunteers. Are there any events coming up that folks need to know about? Anything else that you want to mention?
Sure. In September, we have a couple of big packing events, September and
Okay.
October. Because transportation is so unpredictable right now, we don't know when those containers are going to get into Houston. So it kind of comes out of, we hear our containers coming in. We know we have a shipment that needs to go to Uganda. And so we send out a blast and say, if you're available, please be there. We try to be as far in advance as we can, but we're subject, like everyone else, to the shortages of transportation and supplies. So sign up, get on our list in September and October. We would love to host you. If you're a business or a corporation, we
Mhm.
can already have you in and do your training and come up with a special project for you so that you know what to expect. So
That's
we're pretty
great.
accommodating.
Yeah, and you guys, for those of you watching, feel free to leave any comments in case you have any questions. But let us know where is Project Cure located, and what are the hours of operation?
That's a great question. So we are in Spring Branch area on Kempwood. We are in the warehouse district of Kempwood. Pretty
Okay.
easy to get to, straight off 290. I've gone 10 and upward, so we're really centrally located. We're usually here Monday through Friday, at least 8 to 5, and in many days on Saturdays. So there are plenty of volunteer opportunities on Saturdays. And sometimes even Sundays if we have a shipment that needs to go out. So you can email or call, reach out to us that way, or reach out to us by the website, which is usually the best way to get us. A lot of
Hmm.
times we're in the warehouse packing. We're gritty. I mean, my office is in the warehouse. So drop by at any time. There will be somebody to greet you and answer questions.
Awesome. Is there anything else the volunteers need to know, especially if it's their first time doing something like this? I'm sure they probably know to dress comfortable, but is there anything else they need to keep in mind?
That's a great point. Dress comfortable. The warehouse does not have the air conditioning, but giant fans.
Uh
They
oh.
We've got those gigundo fans, and the
Okay.
areas where volunteers work relatively cool. But we have water for volunteers, and most of the time snacks. But bring something if you really want to have something special. Bring food or water. We have a refrigerator. Good shoes, dress comfortable, and probably plan to get a little dirty. So dress in something you don't mind throwing into the wash.
Exactly. Great point. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for coming on and speaking with us. I hope you guys get plenty of volunteers because it looks like you have a lot of supplies that really need to go out.
We do a lot of supplies and a lot of communities around the world that need them.
Yeah.
Imagine what it would be like the day before and the day after getting a neonatal bed from us. Just imagine.
Wow.
You can be a part of that.
Wow. Well, I love what you guys are doing. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much.
Thank you again for having us.
No problem. All right. So we have another ongoing opportunity that I want to tell you about. We have Melinda with Clothed by Faith. Good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning, Denise. Thank you so much for having us.
So tell us a little bit about the organization for those who may not be familiar.
Okay, so Clothed by Faith is a ministry that works out of Katy and Deer Park. And what we
Mhm.
do is we give 1 week's worth of clothing free of charge to children and adults in need throughout the greater Houston area. So our volunteers shop through our inventory of gently used clothing and shoes, and they choose out about 7 to 10 outfits for each specific person. And they package it very carefully and very neatly, and they get that ready for those people to come pick up. And so we get requests through our online system from either we work with other agencies across the greater Houston area, such as the Harris Center. We work with other nonprofits all over Houston, and we work with 17 different school districts.
Wow, and look at all these clothes that you have. I mean, I'm sure that takes a lot of time to go through everything, and it looks so neat. Everything looks really nice. Talk about, what it takes for the volunteers to get this organized.
Okay, so our volunteers, they actually do start by sorting through the clothing, because one thing that's very important to us is our standard of the clothing that we give out. And so we want them to learn at the beginning, what we keep, what we don't keep. And so they usually start by sorting in our sorting area. And then from there, if they like that, because we do have some volunteers that all they want to do is sort clothes. They can stay there if that's what they choose. But then they can move into learning how to actually package the client bags. And so that includes getting you would get a specific client, we get a strip of paper that has their name, their age, their shirt, pant, and shoe sizes, and any preferences that they have. So like right now, someone might get a little girl named Lucy, who is 7 years old. She's in first grade, and she's at a school that wears uniforms. So they're going to go through and package a bag with uniform tops, uniform bottoms, brand new underwear, brand new socks, and a pair of shoes. And they'll package that up for Lucy, and then her school will come and pick that up. So that's basically the things that they do in the warehouse. We actually have some opportunities for people to do at home. If they're not able to come to our warehouse, they can come and pick up brand new underwear and socks that we've bought and repackage those for us. They could come get some of our clothing that needs to be washed and take it home and launder that for us. They could also, something that's really important to us is the clothing donations that we get. The majority of our clothes that we give out come from clothing donations from individuals and businesses and churches. And so if someone wanted to organize a clothing drive, we had a student actually that just did this a few weeks ago for some volunteer hours. He put flyers out in his neighborhood and went around and picked up all the donations and delivered them to our Clothed by Faith office in Deer Park. And so that's another option for people to do. Another thing that we're starting up is we have schools that, while they love being able to request from us, it's getting to where it's not as easy for them to come and pick up. And so we're looking for volunteers who can come to our branch, pick up a request, and deliver it to a school.
Okay, and where is your branch located?
So we have a branch in Katy off of Dominion Drive, and then we also have one in Deer Park.
Okay, and so how many volunteers are you looking for? Because it looks like you guys have a lot of clothes to sort through.
We do have a lot, and we serve between our two branches around 1,000 people a month, or if not more. And so what we're looking for is volunteers who have a couple of hours, maybe one day a week. That's one thing. They could come and they can sign up for a shift from like 10 to 12, 12 to 2, or 2 to 4. And they'll go online to clothedbyfaith.org and click on the link to volunteer. And then they can choose which branch they want to volunteer from. They'll fill out our information, and then the branch will respond to them and give them a link to our Sign Up Genius link, where they can go on and choose what shift they want to do. They can choose if they want to sort clothes or package things for clients. So that's one way to do that. And then we also can have groups. So that's something that can be scheduled with. They would just need to contact our branch and schedule that with our branch managers. Our Katy branch can take about 8 to 10 volunteers at a time. Okay. And our Deer Park branch can take 15 to 20.
All right, good to know. And I was going to ask, in case someone wanted to make it a family, volunteer experience, I guess, how young can the kids be? If they want to bring the little ones, are they going to be in the way, or are there things they can do?
Yeah, not younger children, but 14 and 15 can come with a parent, and then 16 and up can come without a parent. So it's a great way for teenagers to get volunteer hours.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's great. Is there anything else they need to know? For folks who are doing this for the first time, I guess, why would you, encourage them? What do the volunteers say that experience is like being able to, help out in that way?
Well, one thing that's really neat when they're volunteering in the branch is that they get to see the people who are coming to pick up the bags. So they
Oh,
get to hear from the families that are getting clothing and what that means to them. Whether it's a single mom who's working and just trying to provide school clothes for her kids, and through Clothed by Faith, she's been able to get a week's worth of clothing for her 3 kids. So that's something that that's money she's not having to spend. She's able to use her funds for something else. Or if it's a single mom who has had, or a mom that's had to flee for domestic violence, and that organization that's working with her is able to come in and get clothing for her and her family and get them started back on their feet. Or we've worked with a lot of refugees recently, and so people coming into the country without anything, just the benefit of getting the clothing from Clothed by Faith for them it's just such a important thing for them, and that our volunteers are able to actually see that and hear from the agencies and organizations and schools that are coming to pick up clothing.
I absolutely love that. So, is there anything else the volunteers need to know before they sign up? I know it is Labor Day weekend, so are the shifts still going to be, the same hours? Or are they changing at
Yes,
all?
so both of our branches are open from like 10 to 4, Monday
Okay.
through Friday.
Mhm.
And so that's the main time that our volunteers are here, is just during
Okay.
that time. They're welcome to come. We have volunteers that come once a week, once every couple of weeks. We have volunteers that come 2 or 3 days a week. It's really up to them. Just the most important thing is to start by going online at clothedbyfaith.org and
Mhm.
registering as a volunteer, and then they'll get the rest of the information after that.
What a wonderful organization, Melinda. Thank you so much.
Well,
I
thank you for
appreciate
having
it.
us.
Of
Thank you.
course. All right. Well, if there's one thing we have, it's options. Okay. We don't run out of options for you guys. So we have Erin here with Volunteer Houston to talk about some more ongoing opportunities. Hey, Erin. Good morning.
Good morning, Denise. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So what
So,
do we have going on? I know it's Labor Day weekend, but since these are ongoing, folks can still keep this in mind, for the near future in case they want to do something later.
for sure. So, I have 3 different opportunities I'd like to talk about today. The first one is with Jesse Jones Park. So, they have this Adopt a Trail, Adopt an Acre program. That's an opportunity for conservation minded groups to sponsor a section of the park, helping control invasive non-native plants and kind of conducting routine maintenance. So if you're interested in kind of getting your hands dirty, helping out with a park, that would be a really great opportunity to do that. They ask that each group commits to conducting a workday of about 4 hours every 3 months to remove the invasive plants. And they say no experience is necessary, that any group can help. So for example, that includes scouts, that includes schools, church groups, conservation organizations, companies that need volunteer hours, etc. And there's no maximum or minimum size for that group. But they do say, please wear closed-toed shoes. You're going to be outdoors, getting your hands dirty. They ask for full-length pants, work gloves, a sun hat, and refillable water. Those are recommended. They're not required, but you would probably be happy that you had them. So if you're interested, you can find that in the Volunteer Houston portal. That's with Jesse Jones Park Volunteers. Another really great opportunity is training to empower caregivers in Katy for the Alzheimer's Association of Houston and Southeast Texas. So you would be training to serve as a co-facilitator with an experienced facilitator for a group that meets on the second Wednesdays of the month at 1 p.m. And their Alzheimer's Association support group facilitators are creating a safe, open environment for people to share their feelings and thoughts and experiences to kind of combine and create this really safe environment for people to cope and manage the shared problems that they have experiencing dementia. And so the qualifications for this is a good opportunity for you if you're able to be empathetic, help people separate their personal needs from their group needs, if you have strong listening and effective communication skills, if you can redirect and facilitate the discussion, like if you're great at guiding a discussion, this might be a really good opportunity for you. And if you have experience with dementia as a family member or maybe a healthcare professional, this would also be a really good opportunity for you, but that is not mandatory. So the commitment that they're looking for is a 1-year term. You would just be meeting once a month though. So, that's 12 times over the course of a year. So that's not too long. So if you're interested in that, that's with the Alzheimer's Association. And my last opportunity I want to talk about today is with Rebuilding Together Houston. It's titled Individual Volunteers Rebuilding Community. So Rebuilding Together Houston has a community of volunteers that are helping low-income elderly, U.S. military veterans, and working families that are in need of critical home repairs, accessibility modifications, and energy-efficient upgrades at no cost to the homeowner. And their projects add about 20 years or more life to the home. So that makes the home safer and more resilient against disaster. We get a lot of disasters here in Houston. And they've served over 14,000 neighbors already. And they average one family helped per day for 40 years. So all skill levels are welcome for this. They do recommend age 15 and up. So you can sign up for that on the portal. And once you've registered for that need, they said they'll let you know when they have an opportunity that meets your skills and experience.
All right, I love it. So many unique opportunities to choose from. So, hey, you can always go to volunteerq.org in case you missed any of them today. Melinda, Joe, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Hope you guys have a great weekend. You can always catch us here every Friday at 11 a.m. right here at Volunteer Vibes. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.